Hi everyone, this week it's about changing your university departmental role. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Caroline. Welcome back if you're a returning subscriber to this content. This channel is all about all things academic. If you don't know me yet, I am a university lecturer here in the UK and I teach my research and I work in physics. So this semester coming up, so we're just about to end our current semester 2, about to have our university undergraduate vacation period where we still keep working as academics, but the students are on vacation. But then when I come back into the new year and the new semester, I am changing my university departmental role. If you've been around here for a while, you know that currently I am the university admissions tutor for the physics department at my university. And I've had that role for about 6 years. To be honest, I love it. You know, it's a great role to have. There's loads of work. So we're coming up to a really busy period. Here in the UK, all the results come out in the August timeframe, which means all the kind of the clearing process to get into university is happening in August. So summer months are very busy for admissions tutors, but I really enjoy the role and I really enjoy the tasks that I'm required to do. There's a whole mix of activities I get involved in, from running the open days, running the applicant days for students who are coming to visit and see if the university is right for them, looking at people's applications to decide if we can offer them a course place or not, you know, working with the marketing teams for the university marketing materials, and of course the kind of the busy summer period where we're actually accepting people onto the course. Admissions is a really variety. Admissions has lots of variety. And it's a really interesting departmental role. So you may ask, why am I giving it up? And no, I wasn't pushed out or forced out or asked to leave, but I felt that after 6 years, the time was right to change my role and to do something else. And so in this video, I'll explain a little bit about why I felt like that or feel like that, and a little bit about how I'm going through the process of handing on my role. If you hop over to my website, and I'll pop a link in the kind of the description section below, you can read a blog post each week that relates to these videos. And I discuss a little bit about why I think that 6 years was long enough to have this particular position in the university. And I think you take on a new role within the department with lots of energy and enthusiasm. It could be a bit daunting to start with, but you kind of throw yourself into that new area that you're being asked to look after at the university. And then after being through that role, being in that position for maybe a few months or a couple of years, you kind of find your rhythm with that departmental role. And then I guess you can start then to influence change. Once you're comfortable with the needed tasks and activities, you might just see areas for development or for growth in that role, or things that could be maybe improved or altered or changed to work better. And so, you then start to develop your ideas, develop your skills and what that role looks like, and maybe evolve that role a little bit. And, I definitely did that with the admissions tutor role. So the person before me, the professor before me, was fantastic and did a brilliant handover, which I will talk about in a second. But that the role changes. So I introduced different ways of doing open days. I introduced different marketing materials, probably more social media related content for the admissions role than there's been before. But there gets a point where the role becomes very comfortable. So I could stay in that role, but it's a very comfortable, safe thing to do. And honestly, I think there comes a point where actually it's really good to have a fresh perspective and new ideas. And I felt that after, 6 years, so 6 years of doing it, 6 admission cycles, it was right for somebody else to take on that role. And I also wanted the opportunity to personally try something else. And so this time around, I wanted a new departmental role, and I was looking for something to be connected with research. And so actually, as I hand over the admissions tutor role, I'm taking on my new responsibility, and I'll be taking over looking after master students when they go out on their year-long research placement, which I'm really excited about and really looking forward to getting stuck in and being involved with. So the actual process then of transitioning from one role to another role, I think is really important for both the outgoing person to leave their current role in a good position, in a good state for the new incoming person. And as I go into my new role, I'm looking obviously to take that on in a really productive and effective way for the person who's currently doing that position. So when I took over as admissions tutor, the outgoing admissions tutor let me shadow them for about 4 to 5 weeks, and it was so useful. So I actually took over just after summer. So I was shadowing them during the kind of the confirmation and the clearing period as people are joining and signing up for course places in August. And it was so useful to see the mechanisms, what happens, what meetings I'm expected to go to, what role, responsibilities and decisions that I need to make, how are things structured, how are things organised within the university, what things are done where, electronic-wise. It was just really, really helpful to be able to follow the person doing the role before I then took over to do it myself. So I'm going to be hopefully doing exactly the same thing with a new incoming kind of admissions tutor and saying, this is how I did it, this is how I'm doing it at the moment. These are the steps and processes that I currently go through. But the other really good thing about the outgoing admissions tutor when I took it over was that they didn't then dominate or dictate that I did things in a certain way. And I think that's really important. You have freedom as the new incoming tutor to kind of explore a little bit and not make your own mistakes, but do things slightly differently if you want to and if it's appropriate to do that. So it's quite interesting when you change departmental role, because quite often the outgoing person who's been doing that role will still be in the department. They'll still be able to see the new incoming person and what they're getting up to. There's a few occasions where that doesn't happen. And as I said, I covered for somebody on sabbatical, so they weren't there day to day. But in the main, when you have a university departmental role and you transition from one to another, you are there to see the person who's taking over the role that you've just left. And I think the temptation then could be maybe to lean into that person and kind of give them some advice or opinions about how you think it should be done or how that role's always been done. And actually, I think it's really important to give that new person space. And it's a real balance, because you want to give them space that they can do things in their own way and be able to formulate their own structures and processes for tackling things. But at the same time, you want to be about so that if they're having a problem, they feel they can come and ask you a question maybe, and you're kind of that approachable kind of, I guess, experienced person who might be able to offer some advice or something if they're facing something new for the first time within that role. And so as I take off my admissions tutor hat and I put on my placement coordinator hat, I'm doing that thing. I'm letting one role go. And yes, I will be around to help and assist if that person who takes on the role wants it or needs it or asks for it. But at the same time, my efforts and energies are now going to be focused on my new role. And, I've hosted placement students from the perspective of being an industry supervisor. I've had personal tutees who've gone out on placement, but I haven't coordinated the MPhys placement programme. So this is a new activity for me to get involved in. And I'm sure the outgoing person who's done that role will have tips and tricks for how it works for them, which I will obviously be trying to follow and utilise. And then inevitably, people do things in different ways. So I will probably change some things, and it may work, it may not work. But I'll be in that initial period of finding my feet. So it is a bit of a change. I think change can be nerve-wracking. Typically it's quite nice to be in something that you know what you're doing and it's very comfortable. But I think it's good to change. Sometimes I think it's good as well to identify when you want the change to happen. So I could have waited for maybe another couple of years being an admissions tutor until somebody said, you've done this for long enough now, you should probably clear off and do something different. But actually I thought, no, I'd rather be not in control, but own the situation and say, hey, I've done this for a while, let me try something else. So this is what's happening. So I shall do the summer, my last summer as admissions tutor, and then I will take on a new challenge in the autumn. But let me know, do you have a role within your university department? Did you get to choose that role, or were you allocated it by the head of the department or the head of the school? Do you like your departmental role, or are you looking to make a change? And how did you find that you settled into that role when you were taking it over for somebody else? Loads of questions. Basically, just leave me a note in the comments. If you have got a university departmental role, do you like it? And if you're thinking about working at a university, Do you know what kind of role you're looking to work within? And there are many, and we can do a whole video on all the different departmental roles you can have within a university. And don't forget, this departmental role happens alongside your research and your teaching. So you don't get to put all those things down to take on this departmental role. It's one of the many things that you have to juggle as an academic. But yeah, leave me a comment if you're new to the space around here. Maybe think about hitting subscribe. It's completely free, fresh academic content every single week. But in the meantime, have a really good week. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and I'll see you next Monday for another academic video. Bye.